Back to the White House right now and continue listening in as President Donald Trump signs executive orders there in the Oval Office.
The officials that are really happy when we go in because they've lost control of their place. Steve Miller, please say a few words.
Thank you, sir. So just to, first of all, follow up on what the Vice President said, no police officer working in the city can remember a time in their lives when there has been no murders. You can work at the police department for 20 years, 30 years, your whole life. We've checked the records. No one can even find a record of being murder-free for as long as we've been murder-free under President Trump's leadership. Additionally, and the President spoke about this before, we've uncovered, in the process of uncovering, a massive scandal in Washington, D.C. with the doctoring of crime stats. And the Department of Justice, under the Attorney General, is leading the effort to uncover this. But when we ultimately share the results, it will stun you. The extent to which, even though D.C. had the worst crime in America, honestly measured, it dramatically understated how bad it was. There's even accusations that murders and homicides were reported as accidents instead of murders. I mean, this is how severe the manipulation of the crime data has been in this city, and it will all be uncovered and it will all be brought to light. You know, I've had a chance to spend some time, as has everyone here, with the police officers in the city. Members of the public are going up to them and thanking them, just overflowing with gratitude, because for the first time in their lives, they can use the parks, they can walk on the streets. You have people who can walk freely at night without having to worry about being robbed or mugged. They're wearing their watches again. They're wearing jewelry again. They're carrying purses again. People had changed their whole lives in this city for fear of being murdered, mugged, and carjacked. It is a literal statement that President Trump has freed 700,000 people in this city who were living under the rule of criminals and thugs. And the last thing I'll say is that under the efforts of Terry, to my left and many here, what they found also is that the street criminals here in Washington, D.C. were doing business directly with the transnational criminal cartels, the foreign terrorist organizations. So not only was the city being run by these criminal thugs, but they were working with some of the most dangerous terrorist organizations on the planet to traffic weapons and drugs into this city. And what we are uncovering every day is shocking to us, and we look forward to sharing all the results with you. But President Trump, your leadership has uncovered some of the great public safety scandals of our life, and now because of you, people are safe and free for the first time ever in this city.
Thank you very much, Steve. You know, in Los Angeles, Beverly Hills is, a great place. I have a house there. I had a house there. I used to spend a lot of time there. And a great place. Do you know that I have friends, they leave their trunk open for their car because they know they're going to be vandalized. They don't want the trunk ripped off in order for them to steal what's in the back. They leave the doors open so when they go in to steal the radio or whatever they take, that they don't rip off the door. They leave the doors totally open so the criminals, when they go and open the door, they'll have to break the windows and kill the car in order to steal whatever it is in the car that they're looking for. And that's at a level that nobody's ever seen before. Nobody lives like that. I have another friend, he has a garage, and in order to save his garage door, he leaves it open so that people can just walk into his garage, take whatever they want, and leave. But all the cars so many cars, I've been told this by many people, stars, big people, they leave their doors open so the doors aren't destroyed by these criminals. All over Los Angeles this is taking place. And you know that. I mean, you've heard that. Christy, could you say a few words?
Sure. Well, Mr. President, I think one of the most impactful statistics that you used today was of the 1,000 arrests that have happened already so far, 439 of them were illegal criminals, which means they never should have been in this country to begin with. That they were in this country, invaded over our southern border or our northern border or maritime seas, and then they committed crimes against the American people. So by getting those individuals incarcerated, we've stopped those violent crimes from happening here in the city. And sir, they do. Exactly like Stephen was talking, they have ties to cartels. They have networks across this country and other cities. So by what you're doing here is going to have a ripple effect in Miami, in Chicago, in other cities, because you're grabbing those networks and giving us information and targeting information to go and get more criminals across this country. So thank you for the work that you're doing. We have ICE and CBP, Federal Protective Services, Secret Service, HSI. All of our officers are working with all the other agencies every day here in DC, and they're so proud to have this kind of partnership. So
Yeah.
they're so glad that you're letting them do their jobs again. And I don't know if you've heard, sir, but the recruitment campaign for ICE, when we were going to hire 10,000 new officers, we've got over 130,000 people that have applied and raised their hands and said they want to work with ICE. So no matter what the fake news says or what the media says about ICE not having support, they've got incredible support from the American people. People want to join them and help them do what they're doing to make America safe again. So thank you for the
I was going
opportunity.
to say that our recruitment drive, it was dead. During the campaign, they couldn't get, every story was the Army can't fill up, the Marines, none of them could fill up. They were way behind. We couldn't get anybody to go into the military, couldn't get any police. We've just set records on everybody wants to be in. Everybody wants to go in. And we're taking.
You're listening in to CBS News 24/7 coverage of President Trump and his selected leaders there in the Oval Office after signing a couple of executive orders talking about a crime crackdown, not only in Washington, D.C., but in other American cities through the signing of a pen and executive orders there at the White House. Let's bring in CBS News Justice reporter Jake Rosen in Washington. Jake, this sounds a lot like the president making a case for his crackdown on crime. He's doing it in the Oval Office. There's a contrasting sort of case being made against what the president is doing in the courts. But what are some of your thoughts that you're seeing there?
You know, I think the first thing is going back to what Trump advisor Stephen Miller was saying there, that the Trump administration had freed the city from some kind of criminal takeover. That is flat out false, as somebody who's lived here for a number of years. However, the presence of law enforcement throughout the city has made people feel safe. And again, it goes back to that feeling of reality of violent crime in a major city, not just DC, but think about Los Angeles, think about Baltimore and Chicago, where President Trump has teased sending the National Guard potentially into as well. And then at the same time, it's about what is actually being done while this takeover is here in D.C. Yes, they have touted over 1,000 arrests. As you heard Department of Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem say, about 40% of those, a little bit more, were for arrests of people who were here illegally. So the Trump administration kind of taking the crease to take over the city and using it as part of immigration enforcement, which they say is lowering violent crime. At the same time, Reed, one massive positive that you have to acknowledge out of this takeover is that there have been 9 to 10 days here without a recorded homicide in the city. Yes, it has happened at a week rate for a week, a couple of times so far this year, but as we are getting into potentially 2 weeks, carjacking numbers seem to be dropping as well. It's, you know, no mistake that adding additional law enforcement it will value and increase how people feel here, increase the safety. It's just what happens when these forces leave. And is the city and Congress, as President Trump alluded to this morning, going to give the city the money that it needs to hire potentially 700+ additional police officers, fund the city, clean up the city, as he says? How do you actually make this last for a longer period of time?
Well, and we know that Maryland's governor says that these troops come from states with even higher rates of crime than this. Any response from the Justice Department on those observations and criticisms?
Well, we've seen them kind of double down on what's going on here, which is saying that they're willing to bring in the National Guard and do these kinds of takeovers elsewhere. And yes, it is true that some of the states, especially these Republican-aligned states, have different crime rates. However, when you think about actually the violent crime, gun crimes, carjackings, you know, D.C. is a isolated place in one way here, Reed, different than every other city we've talked about in this conversation, because the Trump administration, at one swipe of a pen, has the ability to take over for a short time the local police department and add federal and obviously military support here in the city. It is certainly unique in that way of they can tout a full essential takeover of a city, which again, any other potential National Guard deployment or attempted takeover would certainly meet a legal challenge, as we saw in Los Angeles just a couple of months ago.
Jake Rosen for us in our nation's capital. Thank you so much for that.